We are visiting a dairy farm in the southeast region of Pennsylvania called Marshak Dairy. Marshak Dairy is a dairy farm on the University of Pennsylvania campus. It was actually built in 1996, and Marshak Dairy is named in honor of Robert Marshak, the ninth dean of the School of Veterinary Medicine, whose support was instrumental in establishing this farm. The greenhouse design of Marshak Dairy uses natural lighting and excellent ventilation within the farm to promote a healthy environment for these wonderful cows we're going to get to meet today. The Marshak Dairy provides an easily accessible working dairy farm for research trials. In addition, the dairy serves as a laboratory for teaching students on topics related to cow healthcare, preventative medicine, nutrition, and even food safety. Professors Joseph Bender and Linda Baker work with students at Marshak Dairy on research projects largely focused on nutrition, environmental sustainability, mastitis, and cow comfort. Hello, Joe. Are you there with us?
I am, Brittany. Great. Hey, thanks for the introduction. Really appreciate everyone joining, and certainly appreciate the dairy leaders of Tomorrow Tour and also the Center for Dairy Excellence for putting this together. They were really excited to have an energetic and large group of students here at the Marshak Dairy. We're in Beaufort, Chester County. It's a nice, cool fall morning. So everyone has sweatshirts on, and when the sweatshirts are on, that means the cows are comfortable. It's just a perfect morning to get together and talk about careers in agriculture and specifically dairy this morning. So looking forward to spending some time together, both virtually and in person here for the folks that made it to the farm. Okay, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. So hey, good morning, everyone. Here, I've been introduced virtually already, but my name is Dr. Joe Bender. I'm a veterinarian here at the University of Pennsylvania in the veterinary school. I work just off campus most of the time. We do, I in particular do consulting to farmers across the state of Pennsylvania. So I see a lot of different shirts. I recognize most of the area where you've been from. So just to start, who here has a dairy background? So we got a couple hands up. Yeah, so familiar with some cows. So we're going to take a little walk. So the first station here that we're going to look at is just kind of a farm tour and a basic overall history. And what we really want to focus on this morning is just opportunities for you to get involved in agriculture and dairy. So we'll go ahead and start walking this way. And I think one of the things I would ask you to be thinking about as you're doing this today, we're going to see a lot of different aspects of the dairy, and we're going to talk about the life cycle, like what happens to an animal on the farm. And then every point in the life cycle of an animal on the farm, there's opportunities to get involved. So if you like, mature, larger animals, like you can kind of see over our shoulders here, there's tremendous opportunity to be engaged there. If you like the calves, there's lots of opportunities there. So let's take a walk into our main dairy barn to start with. It's a good place to kind of kick off and see what we're looking at. And then come on in. The cows will be glad to see you.
Oh, they look so cute.
So this is our Marshak Dairy. It's named in honor of Dean Robert Marshak. This dairy was built in 1996. So we're just getting ready for our 25th anniversary. So just a couple things you'll notice right to start. It is a greenhouse facility. So if you take a peek up and think about where you go and buy your plants over the weekend or for your mother for Mother's Day, however it works, very similar setups. We get a lot of natural light. And we use a lot of natural ventilation also. So we're in southeast Pennsylvania, so it does get warm a fair amount. So really April through September, we have to really focus on keeping the cows cool. So you'll see above them, they have the misters that come on and spray water on top of the cows. And then also the fans. So it's kind of like an amusement park. Get water. Stop back and look at the barn. The animals are broken into 4 groups. And it's based on how much milk they're giving, how old they are. And those are really the 2 basic criteria, and then kind of where they are in their lactation cycle. And we do that for a couple reasons. So animals that have had calves most recently have different energy and protein requirements. So we can feed those animals differently. if you just step back and look at the cows eating, so they were fed here just maybe half hour ago, and you think about how a cow spends her day, they spend about 4 to 5 hours a day eating. All right, not a bad gig, really, when you think about it. So they'll come up to this feed bunk and eat about 8 to 12 times a day. It varies a little bit. And how much they eat is directly related to how much milk they give. So those of you that are interested in milk production or working with animals, troubleshooting on farms, just about anything you do on the farm should be focused around how the cow spends her day and how much they eat. So it's a huge opportunity. So one of the stations we have that you're going to go to next is specifically geared towards looking at the nutrition. So any questions so far? I mean, feel free to holler out. The cows here are awfully friendly. I see some folks out, yeah, petting them. So Marshak Dairy, there's 160 cows in here. It would be more like a traditional dairy. We do sell our milk, to a milk co-op, but at the same time, the cows here are used specifically for teaching veterinary students. So really, they're fairly easy to work with, fairly docile, nice to get along with. Cows in general are. So they're taking their time eating here, which is really how we like them to spend their day. So the normal day for a cow is 4 to 5 hours eating feed. They spend about an hour drinking water. The cows here are milked 2 times a day. So they spend about 2 hours, to and from the milking parlor, and the other 14 hours or so, you have to check my math, is spent resting, laying down. So yeah, if you think about your Saturday, how you like to spend it, sleep around on the couch for a while, get up, get something to eat, take a little nap in the afternoon, get some supper, take a little nap before you go to bed, take the edge off, that type. That's really, we try to do anything we can to not interfere with that normal, how the cow likes to spend her day. Okay. As you kind of look at the facility here, you'll notice how hard it slopes to the center. So it's about a 3% grade, and that's because we actually recycle water on the dairy. You'll see some of this afternoon when you go to the other farm, but water comes and floods and actually washes all the manure to the center, and then it's recycled. So just dairy in general, we use about 60% less water to make a gallon of milk than we used back in 1980. It's unbelievably efficient. There's very few industries outside of dairy that can make those type of claims for how efficient the system is. And really everything we've done here is kind of in the name of efficiency and sustainability. Any questions on the adult cow barn? How much do you think a cow weighs? Give me a guess. How much do you think a cow weighs? 500 pounds? You're close. Add 1,000 to it. So round up a little bit, right? Yeah. So about 1,500 to 1,700 pounds will kind of be your average cow in here. They eat 100 pounds of feed per day, roughly, give or take, and drink 25 to 30 gallons of water. Then, of course, you have the manure associated with that. So, okay, so that's our mature cow pen. So a cow will have a calf. They'll come into this barn. They milk for roughly 300 days if everything goes right. And then we give them a little break where they don't milk for about 60 days, and then they'll have another calf. After they're born, it takes them about 2 years to get into this barn after they've had a calf. All right, and the average cow in the United States has about 2.5 calves. That's the average. So most cows are in the herd somewhere between 5 and 6 years. So it's not short, but yeah, fair amount of time. So let's walk around the edge of the barn here. I think we have a few more minutes, and we'll take a look at kind of where things start. So the building that you're looking at just across the driveway, this is where the dry cows are, and that's also where they go to have their calves. So when they're not milking in that 60 days, really the last trimester, when they're getting ready, to have their calf, they're fed a separate diet over there. It has more protein in it and less energy in it. It's really similar to humans. What we try to emulate in human medicine and human nutrition. So those animals are over there. Then they have individual pens they go to have their calves in. So you'll see that when you go over. That's our veterinary station that you'll see. So there's veterinary students and some field service veterinarians that'll be get to do a pretend physical exam on a cow, but it's not that pretend. You'll be touching the cow. So as we walk around the side here, you'll see some of the big tanks that are up in the corners. That holds the recycled water from the farm that gets used to flush down through the cows. And you'll have an opportunity here just to sneak back and look inside the barn. So kind of like I said before, we really want cows to be doing three things: either laying down, taking a nap, eating, or drinking. In general, cows just don't stand around. And if we give them more time to lay down, be more comfortable, they ultimately give more milk. And that's probably been one of the biggest things we found in the dairy since when I was a kid. If you give cows the opportunity to just spend the day how they want to, they will produce more milk. So do you know how much more, well, let me ask it a different way. Compared to 1980, when I was born, cows give, almost about 35 to 40% more milk than when they did. It's because of advancements we've made with housing and cow comfort to kind of stimulate more milk production. So let's walk around this side here. And this is kind of where everything begins. We have a couple different stops for the calves to make. So calves are born, and then on our farm here on the Marshak Dairy, they're placed into an individual calf hutch. We can walk down and be a little closer. Wait till everybody filters down here. These are the cute ones. These are the ones you want to get close to. So after they're born, the majority of calves here actually go into an individual hutch like you see here. And there's a couple reasons for that. The biggest reason is biosecurity and just keeping the animal healthy. So the calf is with the cow after they're born for a small amount of time until the cow goes into the herd. But we take the calf away within about an hour, 2 hours. And that's basically for the safety of the calf. Cows are big, they step around, and we actually, the calves aren't born into a completely clean environment. So we do try to get them into an individual hutch. So they're in these individual hutches for, it really depends, about 6 to 8 weeks. It varies on every dairy farm. And I think maybe one of the easiest ways to describe it, if you were growing up, or I have a toddler at home and he goes to daycare, and about the worst, oh my gosh, he comes home every other week with a cold or some type of snotty nose. And we're trying to prevent that type of situation in our baby calves. You will see, and this is kind of becoming a little bit more mainstream, the larger hutches in the back, you will see groups of animals, and there's 2 calves to a pen. So we're doing some work. We've improved biosecurity enough and cleanliness on a lot of dairy farms that we're able to do some of these some group housing. Okay, we've figured out how to keep things a little bit cleaner, how to take better care of our animals, so they can actually, for lack of a better term, use the buddy system. So the animals that are kept in an individual hutch, they're only in there for about 6 to 8 weeks. And then they take a step up to some of the pens that you'll see behind us. They go into a group of 3 or 4. And the point of that is the 2 most stressful times for a calf is one, when we're taking them off milk and they're going to a solid diet, and also when they get grouped. When they go from being a single to a group of 3 or 4, it can be very stressful for them. There's a lot of work that's done in the calves, because we know that how calves are taken care of, particularly when they're newborns, really impacts their future productivity. Everything from the housing to the nutrition, vaccinations, etc., has a large impact on their future productivity. So if you have some type of interest in calves, there's a lot of industry jobs, veterinary jobs, just managing calves on dairy farms. It's a huge opportunity to get involved in the dairy industry and following this cycle. So And this part's extremely important because on dairy farms, the number two, usually the number three reason, or excuse me, most expensive thing is replacement animals. So we're trying to keep a flow of animals coming into the herd. So you can see they all have an individual number, has their birth date on it. Oh, there you go. Yeah. You got her excited. One thing about, they are all females. Okay, so there aren't any males, there aren't any bulls that are kept on the farm, or males, and that's for mostly safety reasons. But then the females obviously make the milk, so that's who we want to keep on the farm. So yeah, this is the future of our herd, and that's kind of the way we need to think about it when we take care of the animals. Any questions from anybody in the group about the calves? So it is. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And then between every calf, these are lifted up. Everything's cleaned out. They're power washed. They're sanitized, set back down. The mats are so just, it's easier to keep clean. Yes, there is. Yeah, yeah. Because of the stones. The stones are the easiest thing for us to manage, to keep the calves on, because we can replace the stones over time. Yeah. So
We did have a question for you. If you're able to answer it for us, I know we're at a farm that's, part of research and really part of helping, improve the dairy industry. We were just wondering what inspired you to come to UPenn and Marshak Dairy? Like what drove you to come here instead of like running your own farm or anything like that? What brought you to Marshak Dairy?
yeah, sure. And that's actually, yeah. I grew up on a dairy farm. My parents had a dairy farm. And I think I had to make that decision when I left high school. Was I got to stay on the dairy or go to college? And I thought, I could still go to college. I could still come back to the dairy farm if I wanted to. And then I had to decide if I wanted to go back to the dairy farm or wanted to go to veterinary school. I chose to go to veterinary school. And that was the most impactful decision I made, to be able to come home and help my parents on the dairy once I actually became a veterinarian, and some of the skills I learned there. And then I was in practice for a little bit. There was an opportunity to come to the University of Pennsylvania, the veterinary school. I enjoy working with the students, enjoy passing the knowledge on. I'm still my parents no longer have their dairy farm, and we have some new ownership. I'm still involved in it quite a bit, but it was the biggest opportunity, I thought, for me to make a difference. I had to decide, do I just want to stay on our own farm and do my own thing, or do I think that I have I don't want to say a gift, but I do have a passion for working with students who want to be a veterinarian, just the tremendous impact that veterinarians can have on dairy farmers, and not just the cows. There's a lot of different things you can do related to veterinary medicine and cows. I think that's part of the goal today, to share some of those different careers. So it's just the biggest way for me to make an impact. So yeah, it's been a really good fit. I'm in my 10th year here at PennVet, so plan on being here a little while. So it's a good question. Thank you.
Oh, we love that. Well, thank you so much for just having that passion. And maybe there's some people here live that are thinking about being a vet as well. So, maybe UPenn's where you want to end up being, and you get to hang out with Joe, and it'd be a pretty cool opportunity. So thank you so much for what you do. And just giving us a quick little show, and also getting to see these cute calves, because they were a lot of fun to hang out with.
Absolutely. So great. Yeah. And, if you're interested in veterinary medicine, PennVet, it's the state's only veterinary school. So it's a great place to pull all these people together. So anybody interested, we're looking forward to seeing you here. So come down, see us.
Awesome. Thank you so much.